All right, 5.5 homework. So, number one, define possible zeros. Remember, we do plus or minus P over Q. Okay, so all the factors of P over Q, which in this case is 1. All right, so we just list out, and the shortcut way of doing it is you can just write plus or minus, and then put all the factors of 32. So 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, and 32, all over plus or minus 1. Okay, so you don't have to write plus and minus all on each of those numbers at the top. You can just write it once in front of the parentheses. Here's our P, here's our Q. So plus or minus 1, 5, 7, 35. Down at the bottom, plus or minus 1 and 3. Okay. Now, what are the actual numbers on these? When you divide by 1, that's easy. It's literally, whoa. Try that again. It's literally plus or minus 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. But on this one, number 3, notice all of these over 1 is just those numbers, plus or minus 1, 5, 7, 35. But then we have to write them all over 3. So 1/3, 5/3, 7/3, and 35/3. And that's it. Use synthetic division to find all the possible solutions to the polynomial. Okay? Now, remember, you get to take one little shortcut here. Instead of finding, the old way is to list all the possible solutions, okay, which would be all the factors of 16, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. Instead of doing that, plus and minus, you can put this in the calculator. So you put this in your graphing calculator, go to the table, you will find at least 1 0. Pick any one of those numbers. Doesn't matter which one you pick, okay? So remember, for this, it would be plus or minus 1, 2, 4, 16. Okay? But instead of just guessing one of those and trying it and then finding out it's wrong and doing it over and over, there's a step to take. You can find the number. So I'm going to say 1. That's one of the numbers that if you look on the calculator, sometimes all 3 will be on there. Like on this one, all 3 will be there. I'll tell you right now, the answer is 1, -2, and -8. You could have started your synthetic division with any one of those 3. I'm just going with the simplest math, which is 1. So 3, 2, 1, none. 1, 9, 6, -16. 1, 1, 10, 10, 16, 16, 0. That gives me x squared plus 10x plus 10, 16. Two numbers that multiply give me 16 that add to 10. Easy. 8 and 2, both positive. Okay. Don't forget to bring down this solution. X equals 1, -8, and -2. That's it. Right here, we would have had plus or minus 1, 2, 4, 8. Those are our possible solutions. I'm going to tell you right now, there's 1 easy 0 and then 2 that are radicals. Make your life easier. Find 2, 0 on your table and go from there. 3, 2, we don't have a 1, so there is going to be a 0 in our synthetic division. -4, 0, 8. Drop the 1, 2, add straight down, 2, add straight down, -8, 0. So that gives me x squared minus 2x minus 4. When you factor that, it's not going to work. There are no 2 numbers that give you -4 and differ by 2. So when that doesn't work, our other choice is to get the good old quadratic. So x equals the opposite of b. Remember, A is 1, B is -2, C is -4. So the opposite of B, plus or minus the square root of B squared, remember there's going to be a positive number no matter what the calculator tells you, minus 4 times A times C all over 2A. This is going to give you 2 plus or minus the square root of 20 over 2. Remember, this breaks down to 4 and 5. 4 is going to come out. 2 plus or minus the square root of 4 is 2. Radical 5 over 2. You can simplify all these 2's, but it has to be into both of them. So our final answer is x equals the 2 we started off with, and then 1 plus or minus radical 5. There's my 3 answers. 2 here and 1 here. All right, number 6, it says use synthetic division, which means we need to find one of the numbers that work. So again, on this one, it's going to be plus or minus 1, 2, 5, or 10. Use your calculator. Find one that works. Okay. There's only one real good one, and that's going to be -2. All right. And you'll see why in a second. So we have a 3, a 2, a 1. So 1, -2, -3, and 10. We're good to go. Drop the 1, multiply by -2, add straight down, multiply by -2, add straight down, -10, 0. That's x squared minus 4x plus 5. Now you might be thinking, hey, 5 and 4 work. We just did 5 times 1. But the problem is, since this is a plus, that would have to be a 6 in the middle. Or the plus 5 would have to be a -5, in which we could do 5 and 1. This does not factor. So we have to do the quadratic formula again. A is 1, B is -4, and C is 5. X equals the opposite of B, plus or minus the square root of B squared, which is going to be positive 16, not negative 16, minus 4 times A times C all over 2 times A. This is going to end up being 4 plus or minus square root of -4 all over 2. Well, the -4 we can do now. So that's going to be 4 plus or minus the square root of 4 is 2, and the negative comes out as an I, all over 2. The 2 can go into both of those. So I can get 2 plus or minus I. So the 2 goes into 4, 2 goes into 2. Okay? So my factored form is, don't forget that -2 at the beginning, x plus 2. And then x plus 2i and x minus 2i. All right? This is a cubic. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. It is a positive cubic, which means it looks like this. As it goes left, it goes down. As it goes right, it goes up. And again, we only have one actual 0 here. The other 2 are imaginary, which is why it does this. This never hits the x-axis. That's why we have 2 imaginary answers. All right, number 7. So we're given x minus 1 is a factor. That means 1 goes in the box. We have 4, 3, 2, 1, none. So our coefficients are 1, 2, -12, -18, and 27. Drop the 1, multiply by 1. Add straight down, multiply by 1. Add straight down, multiply by 1. Add straight down, multiply by 1, and that gives us the 0 that we are expecting. Now remember, we start with 4, so this is an x cubed. So that's x cubed plus 3x minus 9x, sorry, 3x squared, minus 9x minus 27. Yet I wrote 12. I don't know. Okay. Now, we're going to factor it here by grouping. I can take it on x squared and get x plus 3. I can go ahead and cheat and put the x plus 3 here. What do I divide this by to get 1x? That's negative 9. Put those two together. Now this is a difference of squares, so that's x minus 3, x plus 3. We also have this x plus 3 here. And don't forget this 1, okay, which was x minus 1. So those are our 4 numbers, sort of 4 numbers. So x minus 1 means positive 1. X minus 3 means positive 3. And x plus 3 means minus 3, and we have that twice. This is a bounce. Okay? So the degree is still 3. The type is cubic, and lead coefficient is 1. I'm sorry, it's a 4, quartic. I don't know where my brain is going. I just said 4 things. There's a bounce. So it's a degree of 4, and that's quartic. Okay, lead coefficient of 1. Now, this one is a little bit uneven. This one comes down, bounces off that negative 3, goes up over the 10, comes back down way underneath the negative 10, like that. It looks a little bit more warped on a full screen on your calculator. Now, they're both going up towards positive infinity, as you can tell, because it's a positive. And our final answer here is x minus 1, x minus 3, and to save space, I'm going to write x plus 3 squared. That's where our bounce is. And we're good to go. Last two, 8 and 9. All right, so again here, if we're supposed to do it this long way, it'd be plus or minus 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20. I don't want you guessing and checking and doing this over and over. Find a number that works. I'm telling you right now, the answer is 2 and negative 5. So you can use either one of those numbers. I'm going to go with 2. All right? If there's only 2 answers, you know there's going to be a bounce. All right? I have 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 1, negative 16, and 20. No zeros needed. Drop the 1, multiply by 2. Add straight down, multiply by 2. Add straight down, multiply by 2. There's our 0. X squared plus 3x minus 10. I need 2 numbers to multiply, give me 10 that differ by 3. That's 5 and 2. I want more positives and negatives. Okay, so that gives me my 2 up here, positive 2 here, and negative 5. And again, there's going to be a bounce at the 2 if I was graphing this or looking at this on the graphing calculator. And then this one, again here, I would have plus or minus 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 18, all over plus or minus 1 and 3. So there's a lot of different possible answers here. I'll tell you right now, the only one you see on your calculator is negative 1. Okay? The other one's a fraction, the other one's imaginary. So 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 1, 25, 9, negative 18. Drop the 3, multiply. Add straight down, multiply. Add straight down, multiply. Add straight down, multiply, 0. 3x cubed minus 2x squared plus 27x minus 18. Factor by grouping. I'm going to take out an x squared, which gives me 3x minus 2. I write 3x minus 2 here. What do I divide this by to get this? That would be a 9. It's a plus 9. So that gives me x squared plus 9 and 3x minus 2. And don't forget to bring this down, x plus 1. Most common mistake is not bringing that down. Now, what are my answers? X equals negative 1. Remember, this breaks down to x plus 3 and x minus 3. The only extra stipulation is we need to have the I in there. So that's plus or minus 3i. And this would be add 2, divide by 3, 2/3. There are my 4 answers.